Good morning, this is Philip Love. I am the creator and founder of Reiki, Gong, Dynamic Health. I'm here to give you a brief introduction to the practice before you go into the actual DVD series and look at the various level 1, level 2 forms, as well as the Breath Empowerment and Mudra DVD. What is Reiki Gong? Well, let's talk about the two elements that were combined to create Reiki Gong. First of all, there's something called Reiki. Rei meaning in the Japanese kanji, higher consciousness, and ki meaning energy, ki or chi. In Korea and Japan, they call energy ki, not chi. In China, they call it chi. So Reiki is higher consciousness energy that when you get attuned, you're able to channel through your crown chakra, into your heart chakra, out your arms, through your hands. You're able to channel that in healing yourself and healing others. Now, this is an ancient practice that goes back to ancient Tibet. It was rediscovered by Dr. Mikao Usui in 1925 in Japan while he was meditating on a mountain in Japan that's famous for meditation. Forget the name of it now. And it's practiced by over 3 million practitioners worldwide. So that's where the Reiki comes from. Now, Qigong, or Qigong, but we call Qigong because my particular teacher is from Korea, is energy work or energy management. And this is also an ancient practice that dates back to China, in the Taoist era of China. And Qigong is really the basis of all Chinese medicine, whether it be herbs or whether it be acupuncture, whether it be the moving and the exercises like Tai Chi and Taoist yoga. All of these things are a part of Qigong. So several years ago, I was studying with a Reiki master up in the Catskill Mountains, and I noticed he was doing a lot of exercises from one of the top Tao teachers in the world, Mantak Chia, who I've studied with in New York several times. And I began to think, well, why is there a Qigong world and a Reiki world? Why is there this different spheres? It's kind of like the Catholics and the Protestants, or the Jews and the Christians, or the Hindus and the Buddhists. This is all energy. There's only one source of energy. There's only one energy flowing through all of life, which is Qi. It comes from a divine source we call the Tao. You may have another name for it: God, Presence, Jehovah, Allah, Bhagavan. There's many names for it, but it is one source of energy, and that energy is really the body of the divine. So we're living in a sea of Qi energy. This is a fact. Even Einstein said this is a fact. We are just energy. So the matter is not, is there energy? The matter is, how much are we aware of that? And how much can we master that and use that to create a sense of health, well-being, peace of mind, mental and emotional stability, and even fuel our spiritual and our eternal soul growth? It's all connected. There aren't any separate spheres of life. There is no spiritual world outside of the physical world. There is no physical world outside of the spiritual world. There is no mind outside the body. There is no body outside the mind. It's all a one unitive continuum, and it's all fueled by energy. So Reiki Gong was established in 2009 to bring together the ancient traditions of healing in high consciousness energy of Tibet with the Taoist practices of China and Korea and Japan. And we put this together in a synergistic fashion that creates something that is much, much more than 1 + 1 = 2. I like to say 1 + 1 is 10. And for the most part, the feedback I've got from the many students I've taught since 2009 is this is a fact, that they experience a rapid growth in their ability to feel, cultivate, manage, store the Qi energy within themselves, within their mind and their body and their energy systems, within the body and their auric field. And through this heightened sense of sensitivity, they feel more stable in their life, they feel more vibrant, they feel more alive, they feel more happiness, more joy, more peace, and they feel like their spiritual growth is developing very well. So this is Reiki Gong. It's not something I made up off the top of my head. These are ancient practices that date back thousands of years that have been given to me, and my only input into it is how did I put it together? Kind of like creating a good meal. You have all the elements of the meal, but then how you put it together and how you blend it brings the final result. So there are very few people doing Reiki Gong. I know there are some other people that use the name Reiki Gong, but that practice is different than this. My practice here that I've been given basically is a Qigong practice that is empowered by the Reiki symbols. Now during the various retreats and workshops that you may go to, you may get to be attuned to Reiki and have that element just as if you were strictly studying Reiki. But Reiki Gong is much more. It broadens the scope of it. It brings in other elements that aren't normally taught in traditional Reiki. And with Qigong is not traditionally taught Reiki. So we put the two together and we've created this beautiful practice. Please enjoy these DVDs. You can go on the Facebook site that we'll put here on the screen at the end. On the Facebook site, I have a radio show on Blog Talk Radio called Reiki Gong Hour of Power. I also have a Reiki Gong YouTube channel where you can go and visit and see various DVDs regarding health, wellness, nutrition, food healing, Qigong, Reiki, Reiki Gong. It's a very rich channel. We're building it out now. But you can find it on YouTube if you just put Reiki Gong into the search box. We have plans to open an academy. Right now we're in the studio I have here in Yellow Springs, Ohio. We also have an office in Jaipur, India that opened recently because I've been invited to India for a healing tour, 10-city healing tour this fall. And we're going to be raising money to start the first ever Reiki Gong natural hospital based on the 10 protocol natural healing that I developed that includes the Reiki Gong practice that you're going to see in these DVDs. So once again, please enjoy. God bless. Namaste. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Mani Padme, Om Mani Padme, Om Mani Padme. So this one today is the third DVD in the first series called Breath Empowerment and Mudra. So what I'm going to go through today is the mudras that we'll be using during this particular practice. Now these mudras, there are many mudras out there to choose from in the ancient teachings. I'm going to be using 3 different mudras for 3 different segments. One will be mudra for your physical health. 3 of them. One will be mudras for your mental health, and one will be 3 mudras for your spiritual health. So the first one basically is longevity. All right, this is the mudra for longevity. While we do these mudras, we want to breathe for about 2 minutes deeply into the belly and just basically experience the mudra. What happens when you do mudras is you can feel the energy shift in your energy body when you put your hands in certain mudra positions. So the first one is for longevity. Normally you'll do this for 2 to 3 minutes while you breathe deeply. We're just going to do each one for a minute because we have a limited time on the DVD series, but we would recommend that you use 2 to 3 minutes with each position. feel some tensity and some pain, you just relax and breathe into the pain and move through the pain. Where in all types of spiritual practices, when in yoga and qigong and various other things that you might do, even in physical exercise, if you're able to allow your mind to absorb the pain and digest the pain, you will find a deeper sense of connection, deeper sense of peace to the key energy and to the higher energy on the other side of that pain. Next will be feeling your energy body. It's very important that you can start to develop a sense of feeling your energy body. Because once you start to develop that sense, you'll be able to identify where there may be blockages and where there might be areas that need to be focused on, depending on where those places are in your field inside your body, in your auric field outside your body. So this is the mudra for feeling your energy body. As I do this, my palms are getting very, very full of ki energy and tingling and warmth. It's growing and growing as I do this. Next, I'm going to be doing the mudra for protecting your health, which is like this. Last, I'm going to be doing recharging, just like this. So if you feel depleted, you feel low energy, you can do this mudra for as long as you need to collect and recharge your energy. Remember to always breathe deeply through your lungs and your belly, not just your lungs. Very important to energize the lower danjana through your breath as you do these mudras. to the mental side of things. This is calming the mind. It's not that you may have anxiety, but your mind is just busy and you'd like to calm things down. Calming the mind. Now, in this case, if you do have anxiety, okay, like this. This is for anxiety. So this goes beyond just the normal mind being busy. This is really when you feel stress and anxiety, almost to the point of panic. This, and also lying in a fetal position, like you're in your mother's womb, is also very good for anxiety. You know, in the West, we tend to run to the doctor and psychiatrists, get a pill, pop a pill, and expect it to do all the work. When our body and our energy is really what we need to be working with, not external forces and chemicals and things that to put in the body to artificially relieve the symptoms. We need to work with the energy of the body and the mudra and movement and breath. These are the keys to good health. Awareness, movement, and breath. The synchronization of awareness, movement, and breath. And the free flow of key energy through our meridian system, through our auric field, through all of our organs and our blood. This is the key to successful health on every level: mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, and soul. Next is absence of fear or courage. Fear can be a very debilitating psychological condition and emotion to feel. And unless we can move beyond it, move through it by managing our energy and by feeling love and peace and bliss, fear is a very crippling, debilitating, stressful thing that can ruin our health on every level. So this mudra is very good for that. Last one, in the mental side, is inner security, peace of mind, inner security. Because through meditation and energy work, practice, building up your ki, you can create real inner security that is not dependent upon circumstance. but it emanates from your own soul, your own spirit, your own energy system, your auric field, your chakras, your danjans. It's the focus of Reiki Gong Dynamic Health, is to build the energy fields, to understand them, to build them, to manage them, to collect energy, to be strong on the energetic level, so that life circumstances do not hurt you so much and create instability, create disease. Let's move on to the spiritual now. Sometimes we need answers. We're looking for guidance. We're looking for the universe to tell us what is the best way to go. We may be at a crossroads in our life. We may be struggling with something. We may simply be looking for an answer that's critical to us. This is the Mudra for guidance. Breathe deep through your diaphragm into your belly. Next, wisdom. This is the mudra for wisdom. The difference between wisdom and knowledge is wisdom comes through life experience. Knowledge is things we study in the book and we memorize. Knowledge is not living. Knowledge is just book learning. Wisdom is living. It has a living energy because it comes through applying knowledge to life experience and gaining deeper insight and wisdom. We all have this capacity to function in our brain, in our energy system. We also all have the crown chakra, which opens and connects to higher dimensions of consciousness, where we can also get many answers to our various questions in life through opening the crown chakra, opening the third eye in terms of insight. Wisdom is all tied into this. Now we'll take a look at higher consciousness. The mudra for higher consciousness. which is the mudra of divine worship. We worship our own inner light, our own inner guru, our own inner Buddha nature, our Christ consciousness. And we recognize that in others, in all other human beings, all of the sentient beings, all of creation. We recognize the divinity in everything, which is what Namaste means. It's a mudra of divine worship. The Western traditions being a little bit more focused on prayer rather than meditation, the East being focused on meditation. This is also similar to prayer, the mudra of prayer. Or divine worship in the West is prayer. You'll find this in the Hindu tradition, the Buddhist tradition, the Zen tradition, the Taoist tradition. Maybe others. So those are 12 mudras. 4 in each category: physical health, mental health, and spiritual development. There are many others. I encourage you to go online to check out various websites that can show you the various mudras. There are also some other DVDs out there that are strictly focused on this. Now we're going to move into, first Namaste. Now we're going to move into the breath empowerment section. And in our practice, although there are many breath techniques that you can use. As a matter of fact, the one group that we study with, Love University, has over 635 different breathing techniques based on sacred geometry. We're going to focus on 3 of them in this particular DVD. The first one is called the G breath, or Gamma breath. The second one is called Fire Belly breath, or Tumo breath. And the third one is called Warrior breath. And I'm going to explain each one of them, and I'm going to demonstrate them to you. So let's start with the G breath. The G breath is called Gamma breath, and the reason is this. You basically have 6 different brain waves where your brain pattern or mental activity is at any time. There's beta, which is high beta and low beta, so there are 2. So there's normal, there's heightened normal. Then there's alpha, which is really a little bit slower. It's more geared towards super learning and absorbing and understanding things. Then you have theta, which are slowing down quite a bit, that you experience most of the time in sleep or deep meditation, which has to do with dreams. This is the state of mind or the state of brainwave function that you are at when you're dreaming. And then finally is delta, which is dreamless sleep. When you're at dreamless sleep, when you're pretty much totally unconscious and you're asleep, this is delta. In the Hindu tradition, it says that in delta, or in dreamless sleep, this is when the energy of God merges with you and replenishes your physical and mental energy every night when you sleep. So this is delta. And then finally, gamma comes about when you're able to balance all of these. When you're able to balance these, something kind of magical happens in your consciousness, in your brain waves, and you go into something called gamma, which is like being in the zone, being in deep meditation, being very aware of everything. Okay? Like Michael Jordan hitting the last shot, or Tom Brady throwing that touchdown pass. They many times say that the game slows down and they feel like they're in the zone. And this is a description of the gamma. But what actually happens in gamma is once you get to the gamma, through this specific breath technique we'll show you, your pineal gland, well, first of all, stimulates the hypothalamus gland, but it also stimulates the pineal gland, which then releases a small amount of DMT into your brain. And DMT, if you don't know what that is what you experience when you get high. It's a feeling of peace, a feeling of blissfulness, a sense of calm, relaxation. Okay, so when we do the G breath, that's what we're ultimately looking to do, is release a small amount of DMT into the brain to create that sense of peace and blissfulness. Unfortunately, you don't get there with one series of breaths. You need to do the series several times. I recommend 3 times as a minimum, which means it takes about 20 to 30 minutes to do that. So I'm not going to be able to demonstrate 3 cycles. I'm going to demonstrate the first cycle to you, and then all you need to do is give yourself 5 to 10 minutes between cycles, and you can repeat that again and again as much as you'd like to go. And what happens is the release of DMT gets stronger and stronger as it builds up over time. So quite frankly, you can get just as high doing this as you can using hashish or marijuana or different types of drugs. If you have the time, you have the discipline to do the breath work, you can do this. We call this Reiki Gong, which means natural high without illegal drugs through the breath. So this is the Reiki Gong practice, one of them, and these other breaths contribute to that as well. So let me explain now, what is the G breath? First of all, there are 4 breaths. The first thing you need to do, though, is completely expel oxygen from your system. So you push everything out, okay? Then you're going to breathe. The first breath will be from mouth to mouth. The second breath will be in the mouth, out the nose. The third breath will be in the nose, out the nose. And the last breath will be in the nose, out the mouth. And you repeat this 3 times in the first cycle. So it's mouth, 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 nose, 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 mouth. And then when you're finished with the 3 cycles within the first series here, then you do a final mouth to mouth. And then you relax and let it process, and you will feel a movement and energy in your brain, and you'll feel a small amount of DMT release in your brain if you do it properly. So remember to breathe deeply and follow the pattern, and this is called the G breath or gamma breath. So I'll demonstrate it now. Final mouth to mouth. At this point, you may feel lightheaded. You just want to let it process for 5 minutes or more. This is good for headaches. This is good for relief stress. It puts you in a meditative state almost immediately after 3 or 4 minutes, as opposed to having to sit and trying to deal with your monkey mind and work through that for hours. So it is a shortcut. You can then meditate for 20, 30, 40 minutes if you like, or more. I suggest that you, after your 5 to 10 minute process period, you do it again, and then you process under the 5 to 10 minutes, and then you do it again. And like I said, if you have enough time, you'd like to continue that process, just like going up a ladder, step by step, you get higher and higher in the process. So once again, to recap, mouth, first of all, exhale completely. First breath is mouth, then mouth-nose, then nose-nose, and then nose-mouth. You do that 3 cycles, then you do a final mouth-to-mouth, and then you let it process. This is called the deep breath. Please enjoy that. There is a YouTube channel, Love University, that has this. There's actually quite a few demonstrations of the G breath. If you could go to YouTube, just look for the G breath and Love University, and you can find it there. Okay? The second breath we're going to do is called Tumo breath, or fire belly breath. This is based on the theory that the lower energy center, which we discussed in previous DVDs, is the cornerstone of good health on every level. Having a storage of strong key energy here in the lower center is very vital for your physical health and your mental stability and your spiritual growth. So the fire belly breath is focused on that. What the fire belly breath is 9, what's called the 9 breath method. 9 breaths in, primarily to the lungs, not the belly. And then once you finish that, you swallow saliva down into the belly, extend the cavity of the belly, and then you slowly release the breath without letting the cavity go down, which just creates a vacuum in your danjan, which creates kind of a mechanism of igniting it or triggering it, and the energy will really build. You actually feel a pulse. If you get it right, if you really connect to the center of the danjan, you'll feel a pulse, or like an explosion of energy when you do this. And this is what the Buddhist monks do in Tibet and other areas up in the mountains in the winter. They'll go up into the mountains in the middle of snow with no particular coats or anything, and they'll just practice this breathing method in order to keep themselves warm and survive. And they're able to generate enough heat that they actually melt the snow around them. Okay? So I'm going to demonstrate this 2 times. The fire belly breath, or Tumo breath, and it basically goes like this. Swallow down. Release. One more time, repeat. Swallow. finish, just resume normal ki breathing into the lower abdomen, the diaphragm in the abdomen. If you ever notice the statues of Buddhas, many Buddhas have a small belly. This represents the fact that they have tremendous amount of ki energy built up in their lower danjan. Okay? Don't breathe shallow, breathe deep. The deeper you breathe, the more vibrant, higher quality life you have. The more shallow you breathe, the more superficial and circumstantial your life is. Breath is the energy of life. It's where all the ki is. It's where God breathed into Adam and Eve, the breath of life. It's the same thing you do when you breathe. You're breathing in the breath of life. Take advantage of it. Don't waste a moment with shallow, unconscious breathing. Be aware of your breath. Okay? So to recap, the fire belly breath or Tumo breath is 9 breaths into the mouth, into the nose, out to the mouth. And then in the last one, you hold it. You swallow saliva down into your abdomen. You expand the abdomen. Push the breath down in. You hold that for a few seconds. And then you slowly release without the abdomen going down. And you want to practice this until you really feel that release, that pulse in the danjan and an explosion of energy. It's quite amazing. Okay? So far, recap on the breath empowerment. We talked about the G breath, which is focused up here in releasing DMT into the brain and giving you a sense of peace and bliss, to relieve headaches, to relieve stress, to put you in a meditative state. That's called the G breath or Gamma breath. Then we have the fire belly breath or Tumo breath, which is focused on energizing and firing up the lower danjan. The last one we're going to talk about is called warrior breath. And this you do on your back, lying down. And I recommend you do this for 30 to 60 minutes. And all it is a continual breath through your mouth with no break, lying on your back. So it's basically just deep breathing through your mouth without breaks. So it goes like this. Like I said, you do this for 30 to 60 minutes. And this will pretty much fill your entire energy system full of oxygen, which will pretty much move anything that's stuck and get things flowing again. And that's very important, because stuck energy is what's the problem with disease on every level. The free flow of ki has been interrupted because of physical things, the food we eat, or psychological things, trauma circumstances that we're having trouble digesting. There are spiritual factors as well, there's karmic factors, but primarily the flow and importance of Reiki Gong is to allow you to move this energy and get all the blockages unstuck, so that the ki is flowing freely in your energy system, your chakras, your danjans, in your auric field, in your meridian system. This is the basis also for acupuncture as well. So once again, the warrior breath is lying on your back. I'll demonstrate one more time quickly. Just open mouth breathing, continuous. So we just completed the warrior breath, which again is open mouth breathing, continuous, lying flat on the ground, relaxing, and filling your energy system with rapid breath. Doesn't have to be, but continuous for 30 to 60 minutes. And you will find by the end of that, that you will feel like you have put your hand in a light socket, because your whole system will be flowing with energy and alive. And this is very good to do. I wouldn't do it alone. I would do it with someone else, or do it with a teacher, or a meditation teacher, or a master, because it can be very powerful. A lot of deep emotions can be released. It's a way of releasing trapped emotions. Things can bubble up during that, so you have to be careful of that. So I would probably suggest you doing it with someone else, or a therapist, or a spiritual teacher, or master, or meditation teacher. So that's my suggestion with the warrior breath. So let's recap this particular DVD, because we're at the end of it. We went over the mudras. We went over 4 specific mudras for each level: the physical, the mental, and the spiritual. The mudras are designed to, again, create flows of energy specific to certain issues, such as physical health, courage, wisdom, worship, prayer, longevity, calming the mind, many things. And then we went into the breath empowerment section. We talked about 3 breaths: the G breath, the fire belly breath, and the warrior breath, and we did demonstrations of those. So this breath empowerment and mudra practice is really kind of like Reiki Gong. It's focused on how to become high naturally. There's no danger in it so much, because you're not putting any chemicals into your system. You're just simply using the breath and the hand positions to facilitate shifts of energy and cleansing of energy. I hope you enjoyed this DVD. This is kind of a bonus to the first 2 ones, but it can be very powerful. Remember, Ki is breath, Ki is life. And Reiki Gong, Reiki meaning higher consciousness or divine energy, and Qi Gong mean energy management. So Reiki Gong is divine energy management, or earth and heaven management, energy management, Reiki Gong. Next, we're going to do the final meditation that comes after each level 1 and level 2 form. This particular meditation is from the Bon Buddhist tradition, so there is other elements besides Reiki. I guess it's still Tibetan, so it's still the same root. The Bon tradition goes back 17,000 years to the Buddha called Tongpa Shenro. It's being kept alive in this world through the Ligmincha Institute in Virginia, and some places in Tibet where the root is. And I've used this particular sacred sound, sacred syllable meditation quite often. I find it to be extremely beautiful, because it really balances the 5 inner chakras between the crown and the root, these 5 chakras. So what we have is 5 syllables and sounds that correspond to each chakra. I'll go through them briefly. This one is Om. This one is Ah. This one is Hung, H-U-N-G. This one is Za, D-Z-A, Za. And this one is Ha, H-A. So Om, Ah, Hung, Za, Ha. And there are 5 colors affiliated with these particular syllables. This being white, Om. This being red, Ah. This being blue, Hung. as being gold, za as being green, ha. And the meaning that came to me as I was meditating, this was several years ago, is simple. White, see clearly without illusion, pure, see purely. Red, speak with love, because this is the chakra of expression, verbal expression. Speak with love. Blue, Hung, this is the color of the medicine Buddha. The medicine Buddha's body is lapis lazuli blue. It's the same. So heal with your heart. Heal with your heart. Whenever you heal and you have an emotional connection to that, the healing becomes much more powerful, because all of the energy of the heart is involved in it, which is very powerful. So blue is heal with the heart. Gold, za, means have a bright personality. Shine, like the sunshine. And feel that. And then ha, which is green, means to be rooted in the earth. Always be rooted in the earth. Because if your roots get damaged or cut, the tree dies. To use the analogy of the tree of life, which is one of the tapestries here in the studio, the tree of life, the roots are critical. Just like the lower danjan, the vital energy center, is critical. Okay? So now I'm going to demonstrate 3 times, 3 cycles of this particular meditation. The Gong Buddhist sacred syllable sound meditation. Now spiral, collect energy. 9 times. Let the energy now hold your arms up, like suspended. Feel as if there's 2 giant basketballs of golden key on each palm, pulsing, spinning, the yin-yang symbol there. Put your arms straight out, palms forward. This is the mudra of compassion. Send your energy out to all other sentient beings, sharing that energy and connecting with them. Because in reality, it's all one energy. There is no separateness. One big ocean of ki that we're sharing. The mudra of compassion. Connectivity. It's through the realization of this connectivity that true compassion arises in your heart and mind. Bend your wrist slightly. This is the mudra of group hug. If you're in a group, you can spiritually do a group hug like this as you share energy. If not, you're giving a big group hug to all humanity right now. Back to compassion. Now back to the key ball. Breathe in silence. Breathe out peace. Breathe in stillness. Breathe out love. Silence. Peace. Stillness. Compassion, the highest form of love. Silence. enjoy that energy, that space, divine soul energy of your real identity at the center, at the core, that we share with all human beings, human interbeings, all sentient beings and all the creation. Sacred space, our true home, our true family. Namaste, Om Shanti Shanti, Om Mani Padme Om, Mani Padme Om, Mani Padme Om, Mani Padme Om.